What's that say?
It says close.
Close? Should I do that?
What's it say above it, though?
What's this say?
Working on your live stream. Okay, I think you.
There you go.
Oh, we're live
we're
on
good.
YouTube. What's up, YouTube?
What's
YouTube.
up, YouTube?
All right. So,
Let's do it.
you going to give me a 3, 2, 1 on that? baby?
Yeah, ready? 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Oh,
Hold on.
again, we're holding false start.
Hold on.
Okay.
I don't know if we're live yet, but it's doing the whole spinny wheel thing.
All right, hold on.
So, there we go.
Buffering.
We're live.
What's up, everybody? We're back. The Life on Life's Terms podcast, and I'm Tom Robinson, a grateful recovering addict. We're here at a New Way Recovery Center in Quincy, Massachusetts.
Yes, we are. And,
Live.
and we are not affiliated with any 12-step program.
Thank you.
But
We do
we have benefited
from them.
from them,
Greatly.
and we are advocates for them,
Yes,
but we are not affiliated.
that's right. So that
If
basically
you know what I
means
mean.
they are not responsible for anything said here.
Yes.
Or what
These
we
are
do.
our opinions and our experience.
Right.
Very nice.
So we are just getting back into the swing of things here. My name is Chris Mandeville. I'm a recovered heroin addict. So, like Tom said, we're here at the New Way Recovery Center. They just reopened recently. They have in-person meetings here. They have a max capacity of 20 people. That includes staff. So, if you're looking for meetings, you can go. I'm sure they have the website, or you could stop in and grab a calendar. It tells you everything that is going on. And
Yeah.
great place. And you know, they kind of like they wanted us to come back here. We've been doing this from here for over 2 years.
Yeah, 2.5
And,
years, but take out the 3 and 4 months that we weren't. doing
Yeah.
it.
So, you know, they appreciate us being here, and we appreciate them letting us use the space. We had to switch rooms.
Yeah, we got a
So
new
it's-
room.
so
Look
it's
at
a
this
whole-
tapestry.
Yeah, it's a whole different
Very nice tapestry.
whole different
Yeah.
feel in here now. There's like little quotes and signs and stuff and plants.
Right. I think I'm gonna kill this.
It's pretty good. So tonight we have Roy Morse. He went through the same treatment center that me and Tom went through, and like
Not gonna
I
use-
remember, it was Project Turnabout when it was in Hingham. I remember like you coming back,
Still
you know,
plugged into the house.
plugging into the house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What was
I had forgotten.
what was the black guy that came back that started the hood cleaning business?
I don't remember. Ted Fincher?
I don't know. He was a great guy too. Like seeing people that had graduated a program and
Okay.
and stayed sober,
like that was huge.
coming back. Yeah.
That was huge
It was
for
nice.
for me because I had never been in treatment.
Yeah.
I did 30 days of Bridgewater and got high like 6 hours after I was out of there. So I didn't learn anything. Didn't think that I had a problem, but swore up and down I would never do it again.
Yeah.
So how did you end up at Project Turnabout?
First, I want to say the New Way Recovery Center is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I had Thanksgiving here, Chris. Last
Yeah, you were
last
telling me
Thanksgiving.
that.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, the young pastor was out in the parking lot cooking turkey.
Was it Pastor Aaron?
He was a young guy. He's just
Cooking turkey in the parking lot.
Yeah,
Is that a
it was
deep
awesome.
fried turkey?
Yeah, it was
Oh,
awesome.
there's nothing better.
And I come in here, and I mean, I had plans with my kid's grandmother and everything. It was just a great day, and having eaten with 30 people. But
yeah, very
how I
cool.
found Turnabout was I needed some help. I greatly needed some help, and a guy from my neighborhood ended up getting out and helping himself and come back to the neighborhood. I mean, he got a good job. He got married with a girl in the program, had a couple kids, and was coming back to the neighborhood, you know. And
So he left and then got sober somewhere and came back and was an example.
yeah, and he's still sober today, over 30 years. And very good example, very good friend. But how him and my sister ended up helping me was, unfortunately, folks, I was in such a bad space, and I hated myself, and I was thinking of checking out. and that's like where I was at. That's where this thing took me. I
Yeah,
just felt
it's-
like
Yeah.
such a scumbag about myself, and
Everything in life just becomes so overwhelming, and you can't see any light.
it was just,
Especially if you don't know what to do.
just a good person. I was always a good person, even when I was ripping people off, and kind of being a scumbag. I actually was like a good kid, but I just felt so horrible about myself, and
Despair.
I learned years and years later where my massive amount of addiction actually came from, and we'll probably get into that tonight. Where it really stemmed from, but how I got to Turnabout is pretty wild. When my parents were together, my family was intact, and I was on the baseball diamond down in Weymouth Landing. Had lots of friends. It was a pretty good upbringing, pretty good little athlete, whatever. And when my parents got divorced, my mother moved us to low-income housing. I mean, what are you supposed to do? Well, one of my friends from the landing had, he was kind of doing some of the same stuff that we did, and he ended up in Plymouth County. And
Okay, Plymouth County Jail.
what happened was, this is how I even found out that there was a turnabout out there. Kenny L was paroled from Plymouth County to Project Turnabout in lieu of doing a long bid.
Right,
Got
right.
paroled there and got a good deal, and he did the right thing. What happened was, Kenny was in Turnabout. He was going to meetings, and he was at a meeting in North Weymouth. And my sister was doing the right thing, and she was at a meeting.
Your sister is one of us as well.
My sister's one of us, and they met, and I believe that, not that it's all about me, but I believe that happened for me, because I'm not quite sure where either one is in their journey right now, but
Right. Everything happened
stars
exactly the way
aligned.
it was
happened
supposed
for a reason. I
Yeah.
know that I believe that the big guy upstairs says, I got to throw Roy a bone here.
Right.
And this is how I found it. Because I used to play street hockey in them bunkers in the woods out by Turnabout. Never knew there was a program there because it was like positive.
Right,
If they
right.
sold heroin there, I would have known. But,
Yeah.
like if they sold weed there or whatever, I would have known. But so what happened was, Kenny and Judy, she's like, oh, my God, Kenny, how you doing? He's like, oh, great. Judy, hey, what's up? I haven't seen you in so long. Hey, how's Roy doing? She goes, oh, Kenny, he's hurting. He needs some help. She goes, how are you doing? He says, good. I got paroled from Plymouth. I'm at this place down the street in Hingham called Project Turnabout. You got to tell Roy to get there. That's how I found out about Turnabout.
Yeah,
Somebody else was in a bad way, got a good deal, got to go to a men's treatment facility, and was doing the right thing. And my sister met them, and it was just like, oh, my God.
Now, was it my godfather, John Bonney, director at that point?
John Bonney was one of the directors at that point.
He's passed away.
He was a
but
great guy.
He was
Did
my
he?
godfather. That's how I got him.
Great guy.
I found out that one of my aunts had worked there a very long time ago too.
Wow.
Yeah, Donna Hanrahan.
Wow. It's just wild.
Yeah, crazy. And very similar to the way that you got there. I was in Plymouth, heard a kid talking about the place, got the buzz in my ear,
Yeah.
and started asking about it. And, there was mixed reviews from people in jail, of course.
Yeah.
I shared a
there's
little
a
bit
lot
about
of work
this
to
last
do,
year.
so
Yeah.
you don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or there's rules. You don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Right.
But ironically, you talk about playing hockey in those bunkers.
Street hockey.
The kid that mentioned the program ended up murdering someone in those
Oh,
bunkers.
gosh.
Yeah, that's why they destroyed him.
That's why they took
Wow.
him down.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember when they came to Turnabout looking for,
Wow.
they were like, we know someone from this place.
Yeah, I was in there at the second time when they came. When
Yeah.
I was like, I went in there through it with him, and then when I was in there the second time, that kid who was in there with us the first time,
Yeah.
it was from Hingham, and he was ripping and running, and he was out there and they killed somebody in the bunker, and the cops,
Yeah.
chopper kept coming around.
And I think you were in there. I think Jimmy Altig might have been in there at that time, and John McNally might have gone back a second time.
John was in
Just
there.
so people know, these bunkers were ammunition depot bunkers.
Yeah.
And the
In the
turnabout
woods,
was
just in the
actually in
woods.
officers' quarters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like back in the,
Yeah.
So, I mean, these bunkers weren't just bunkers built for nothing. I mean, that's
Exactly.
you know.
They had
They
a
were just
purpose
big
at one point.
Yeah, cement buildings.
Yeah, where they stored ammunition.
So how my sister met Kenny, okay? So now how did I still find out about it? Well, when Johnny come by the house to check on me and I was hurting, he actually ruined many of my attempts at getting high by coming by and checking on me, and he laughs about it to this day.
Who's
but
this?
Johnny F.
Oh, okay.
Johnny F.
Yeah.
Another
love that
another
guy.
member, another one of us.
So, Judy, my sister, comes walking through the door one day, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Minutes after I was thinking of checking out. Like this is how it happened to me. I'm in the basement of my mother's home.
Yeah.
You know, I made my bedroom down there. Now there's a perfectly fine bedroom upstairs, but I chose the basement. You know, just think of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
Let me
a
be in the
dungeon.
basement.
You could let people in and out, through the bulkhead and stuff. So, just
Yeah.
poor decisions. So I just felt so horrible about myself. I had woken up. It's like 2 p.m, 88 degrees out, like July 1st or something. Beautiful day out. Well, I don't know if you caught that, but it was 2 p.m. I was just getting up,
Right.
So that was like a regular day for me because of how I was behaving
How
with
you
my
were
life.
living.
And it was a beautiful day. So I came upstairs and I just felt like such a loser. I remember thinking like this, as clear as day. And this was 25 years ago, folks. Clear as day. I come upstairs and I was like, the feelings were just hitting me. I knew I was just contemplating suicide, and I come upstairs. I just felt so horrible about myself, and I started to like blame God. I remember looking up and saying, it's kind of like, this is how I asked for help. This is how I got here. Not your typical way of asking for help, but this is how I got here. This is how I asked for help. I had some court cases coming up, and they were going to run them concurrent. Nothing major, just a knucklehead that drove, worrying more about who was behind me than who was in front of me, and I would hit stuff. So I had a couple things coming up, and I was dodging the PO and stuff. So I just felt so horrible about myself. I remember coming upstairs, beautiful day out, and I just felt like such a loser. And I was like, what do you want me to do now? And a tear rolls down my cheek. I hope I never forget that day, because it all started there. It all started there. I asked for help, not your prototypical way of asking for help, but I was like, what do you want me to do now? And I swear, within 20 minutes, the answer came. My sister comes through the door, sober 6 months. Hey, Roy, how you doing? And I remember her look was like, oh, Jesus. I just wasn't
Yeah,
looking
because you
sober.
weren't sober, and she could tell.
My eyes were sunken
Right.
back in my head.
Right.
And so she talked to me through the kitchen, through the living room, and I was hurting. Now, Chris, I also know here comes the AA stuff.
Yeah, right.
You know, I had seen a Father Martin film in the military on an aircraft carrier.
Oh yeah.
I seen my second Father Martin film back on the Navy base when we got back, because
Those films only came in VHS.
I believe my addiction started after some trauma at 18 years old down in Florida in the military. So I just started, whatever. That's where it really, really got sick and crazy. So that's why I told you that I went to a NASAP, Naval Alcohol Substance Abuse Prevention Program, twice. So when it come time to get out of the service, they didn't offer me $16,000 to re-enlist for 4 years. They said, you got 2 weeks of leave saved up. You can go now. They let me out 2 weeks early and paid me. And I embarrassed the whole country getting arrested in another country. It's just smoking hash on a hill, and we got caught. So it was my first arrest.
Where were you? Amsterdam?
No, Naples, Italy.
They didn't arrest you for that
Just
stuff.
They were following us. It was just
Italian
we were
hash.
dead to rights. It was really good Italian hash. So my sister comes walking through the door. It had to be 20 minutes. Within 20 minutes after me just basically asking for help and feeling,
honest prayer.
just feeling
That-
sorry
that
for
moment of
myself,
clarity,
but I
that-
asked for help.
Yeah.
So she comes walking through the door,
Desperation,
talking to me
gift of
from the kitchen,
desperation.
and she says, "Hey, now, mind you, my mindset was I don't want to hear what she's got to say. It's going to be AA stuff, and I don't really want to hear it." But uncanny, I think the big guy also threw a bone, because she ended up giving me some information that I did want to hear, and that was, "Hey, I seen Kenny L the other day." I says, "Oh yeah, where?" She says, "At a meeting." I was like, "Oh yeah, whatever." And she goes, he got paroled from Plymouth County, and he's at this place called Project Turnabout down in Hingham-Roy. You should go there. And I started to listen, but I also really didn't want to do any effort. I just wanted help. I didn't want to do any effort. What happened was how I got hooked was she started to talk about, I said, what's this place like? She says, well, it's one of those kind of places where if somebody's looking for you, they wouldn't know you're there. They don't divulge that you're there. So now I start listening. So now I'm interested in what she's got to say.
Can neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah, that's funny, because I was just going to relate to that. During that murder investigation, they wouldn't let the police into the house. They brought everybody into the big room. They said, everybody stay right here, and they need a warrant to get in here. Now, until we find out what's going on, nobody's going outside.
That happened. It happened when I was there too. They were looking for Billy Stanley. Yeah, he had come there, screaming habit.
I remember that.
He was kicking like kung fu upstairs, and like there was guys with black suits like on every corner of the building. Yeah. And it went on for a few hours, and he was like, you know what, fuck this. He's like, I'm just gonna go out. I'll and Dan Boland was like, you don't have to go out there. They're not coming in this place. Yeah. He's like, listen, I don't want to cause problems for anybody. Went, handled what he had to handle, and came back like not long after that and stayed.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was a trip. It was a trip.
So, but that was in something you were interested in.
Yeah, I was not interested in what my sister had to say, but until she talked about that I could basically hide out.
Right.
Then I started to listen.
Hide from the world for a little while.
So let me let the folks out there. I'm still sober till this day, and I asked for help without really thinking I was asking for help. Help came right away.
Yeah.
They talked about AA. I didn't want to hear it. They talked about you can go to this program and hide out, and I'm still sober. Like I'm so lucky because I felt sorry for myself. I almost checked out. I didn't really want to hear about AA. And I also didn't want to do any work. It's like I'm so lucky, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
like
God.
Here, I'm at 18.
I could have missed this. I could have missed this.
And
so easily
during this whole 25, you could have pissed it away in a heartbeat. Because I've known you for a long time, and I know that shit hasn't been easy.
I've acted like a lunatic in sobriety. I just didn't drink. Hasn't happened quite as much as it used to when I was using, but shit happens.
Yeah. Life on life's terms. That's why we named the podcast
That's what this is about.
Right. That's why we named it that.
Anybody doesn't know, when I seen your shirt, right?
Yeah.
Down the beach, Life on Life's Terms, I was like, wow, I like that, man.
Oh, yeah. We got to make some more T-shirts.
You got to make Roy Boy a T-shirt.
Yeah.
We're going to make some more T-shirts.
That's a fantastic name, guys.
I could talk. I'll talk to my boy and see what we can do for a deal.
Yeah, and anybody out there who has any advice?
You know what I want?
T-shirts, man.
I want hoodies.
Yeah, hoodies would be cool. Yeah,
I want hoodies.
This is New England, man. We're wearing hoodies more than we're wearing T-shirts.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'll be forever grateful for Project Turnabout, but my actions will show that. I can say that all I want. We'll see. I'm very grateful for Project Turnabout, but we'll see.
And that's the thing. The turnabout that I went through, and that you went through, and that Tom went through, is a lot different now.
You said you've been by there.
Yeah.
There's a nice walking path down there, and I try to figure out, okay, where exactly was this building? That's like
I went back there, and there's a pole with a flag on it.
Oh, okay.
And I'm wondering, is that the old flagpole that was in front? Because there's a building not far from that flagpole.
Yeah.
Oh, no
I think I actually have a picture of it in my phone. It was me, Kristen, and Kinley. We were walking through Bear Cove, and I'm
no kidding.
I know the house was right over here. I know it was.
Remember the when it snowed a lot, when people were doing backflips off
we
the porch?
We were jumping off the roof, of the phone, where the phone crew was.
Yeah.
Into the snow. We had to shovel from the front of the building up to the road because someone plowed the road that came down off of Beale and down to us.
I think they would.
But then
they would do like one sweep around the house.
Not this storm.
then.
They couldn't even get around the house.
Yeah.
It was bananas.
Yeah.
It dumped like 4 feet of snow, 3 or 4 feet of snow. That was back in 2002.
My big brother Gary Bellevue was out there with the snowblower for hours, just
Gary,
isolating,
yeah.
just
the snowblower.
Hey, he ended up over at Milky's house, didn't he?
Did he really?
That kid's house, yeah.
No
Because I think he started talking to his mom or something.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Snowblower at Turnabout. Oh, the duties.
Yes.
Yeah.
Scrubbing toilets and
but
floor.
you had someone did everything. There was
Yep.
people that cooked for you. There was
We-
people that cleaned for you. There
we
was
took
people
care of the house.
Exactly.
The
We ran the
residents
house,
yep.
Ran that house.
and that's
Facilitated.
what I think.
Facilitated it.
I think that's what's
Right.
missing in a lot of the treatment nowadays.
Yeah,
Right.
it's-
There's still an us and them. There's like an us
Yes.
and them. You're not part
There's
of
a sense
us.
of pride,
You're
though,
one
too,
of
you
them.
know?
I mean,
You know what I mean?
ours was almost like some of the private pays now. Like there's a lot of private pay treatment centers.
Yeah.
The only thing that Turnabout didn't have back then was actual 12-step, like going through the steps. I mean, we
Right.
had step meetings come in, and we had all that stuff. We had counseling, and we had,
Yeah, because
and
Turnabout,
it was
we would go
great.
step 1, step 2, step 3, go back to step 1, step 2, step 3. There was guys in the house
yeah,
doing the 12 steps.
right.
But
There was people that would
Turnabout
come in and work with you.
themselves Just went step 1, step 2, step
Yeah.
3, back to step
Hey,
1.
I remember it as like actually both times I was there as like the hardest time of my life and the best time of my life. It's like unforgettable experiences.
Right.
You know how
know what I
cool
mean?
it is to still to see you guys,
I
man. You know what I mean?
I
hey,
know.
hey, let's not get morbid here, but guys,
A lot of people.
There's not
know.
many left.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of guys in between us, man, that just aren't here.
Uh-huh.
You know, and it's
Yep.
sad. There's children that don't have their dads.
Listen,
You know what I mean?
there's people that reached out to me to get the people I went through the program's children in the program,
Yeah.
and have done okay.
Yeah.
You know,
It was a special place, man.
It-
Yeah.
It was emotional.
Hey,
it was
you
emotional.
You remember the metal door
Yeah.
from the office going into the
This
lounge.
was a military building.
Yeah,
So-
I know.
when they were shutting that place down, I had my OJ Bronco. They had clear
I
cut
remember
from
your Bronco.
they clear cut from the house all the way to the water. You could see everything.
Yeah.
I bombed around that place in my Bronco. I was four-wheeling everywhere. And then they had a closing meeting, like the last closing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yep, I was there.
I said, 1-1s, plug in. And they're like, what? I said, see that door? They said, yep. I said, take it off and put it in that white truck outside.
You know what
And I took that door.
So for them out there,
It's like 80 pounds of steel.
if
More than
Turnabout
that.
meant something to you and you wanted a piece of this building, the building's coming down.
Yep,
The
exactly.
The property right now, they must make $1 million a month in income. Or
Yeah.
let's leave Turnabout there to help save 29 addicts. I mean,
Yeah, right.
so
Well,
that's kind of like where it was. The property was worth
but
so much
I've
money.
got the
From what I
fire
understand,
drill paper.
I
that
took
has
the
floor
I took
plan.
the clock in the main room where we had all the meetings.
Yep.
The clock that I was so sick of looking at every meeting, like
I believe that there was a contingency that place wasn't to be sold, but somehow
They got around it.
They got around it.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was supposed to remain because now I live in Hull. Down the end of Hull in the gut is the original Turnabout, and that
Wow,
building
really?
still stands. It was a co-ed treatment center.
I remember you saying this last
The last
podcast with the mayor and
Yeah, if you were an
Turnabout,
alcoholic,
back in the day. They would let them drink. I mean,
Yep.
it was about saving heroin addicts from dying.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, if you were a drug addict,
they
you
were
could
coming
still
back
drink
from
alcohol.
Vietnam like in bad shape.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
Crazy,
And,
so crazy.
so pretty wild to get drinking Turnabout. Wow.
So how long were you there for, Roy?
I think it was 4 days shy of a year. When I got there, it
Wow.
was 9 to 18 months long.
Yeah.
And there were guys that did longer than me, and there was guys. That,
Yeah, there was
guys that skated through too. And
There was
Yeah.
the guy that I met in Plymouth. His name was Michael Stapleton, and he was there 24 months, I believe.
yeah, it's a
Wow.
long time, man. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I look at it as like an investment, and I'm not good with money, folks. But I invested a year of my life, and I've already been paid back.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
and it's funny. I was watching Interventions back on. They got new seasons, and this girl
It triggers me.
They were like,
sometimes,
yes.
though,
This girl was like, I got to do 6 months. And I'm like, you don't even know 6 months is like a blink.
Yeah.
Boom.
6 months
Just think
is
about
nothing.
it now. Like, you were just talking. 16 years old, your son. Like, stop.
Yeah.
Like, how long does this? It don't seem like 16 years, right?
No.
Flew by.
Yeah.
And I think about my beginning, right? I had a hard time at the beginning, guys. I had a freaking punk mouth. I wasn't listening.
Yeah.
Leslie Kent ran the place, and I hated her at the time because she was tough on me. She actually said, pack your stuff and screw. I was like, what? She said, pack your stuff and screw. You don't want to be here. I says, yeah, I do. She said, no, you don't.
Yeah, right.
We don't even know you,
They called you
Roy.
out.
So we don't even know you, Roy. We know your name. You haven't shared one thing. I was just so, I don't know. I didn't know how to
Closed and afraid.
Well, I didn't know how to put a feeling like I didn't know what to call this stuff going on inside.
That's why they had that sheet
Yeah,
with the faces.
Listen, that's exactly what
Yeah.
happened to me. As I tell this story, Dan, she hammered me in front of the other 28 guys.
Yeah.
She says she's kind of putting me out there in front of everybody, like screw. And I was like, whoa. So the tough guy mouth. Now I'm starting to whimper a little bit. No, I want to be here. She's like, no, you don't. Screw. You haven't shared one thing. We don't even know you. Who are you? What? Tell us about yourself. And I didn't know how to talk about myself. I didn't know how to talk about these feelings. I was just Joe tough guy with the gangster mouth, and I was a punk,
Yeah.
So how she got me was, she says, how's that make you feel? I just embarrassed you in front of everybody. How's that make you feel? I was like, I don't know, fucked up. She says, fucked up ain't a feeling. She says, how's that make you feel? Think about it. How's that make you feel? I says, I don't know, like shit. She says, like shit ain't a feeling. She storms over and she grabs that thing, pulls the pin out, and she grabs that chart at the dentist. There's 14 feelings or something.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
are you feeling today?
Like emojis today.
But the chart is as
they
big
were
as
like
me. It's a
emojis.
6 foot tall chart, and she slams it down on the table in front of everybody. And like,
Makes you pick out a emoji.
yes, but you know what?
Wow.
It all started there. I was about to get thrown on the turnabout. I told you how I was so lucky to even get there with like, and here I was about to get thrown out, and she confronted me, and I hated her.
Right.
I love her to this day.
But that's the thing.
Me?
Like,
Yeah.
you couldn't connect this and this.
No. So what happened was, like Dan said, I picked one out. She says, how's that make you feel? She actually coached me through it. She was good at what she does. I didn't like her,
And that
but
was it. They took you and they basically fucked with you until you broke.
yeah, I don't
Right.
agree
Or
with
you
it,
left.
but it worked.
Whether you broke or you left.
Yeah.
And
I agree with
it.
it.
Wasn't
I think it's
people would think that
excellent
they're
method.
breakdowns, but no, they're breakthroughs. Like, because
Yeah.
now you're just raw. You're who you are. All the bullshit and all the facade is
Well,
gone.
that's the thing. We build up these facades. You know what I mean? And it's
For protection.
we think we're being protected, but when you're around people who are trying to help, the facade don't work.
no.
But you can't. It's not something you can just drop because you think it's
a survival
you.
mechanism.
You think it is you.
It's a
You know?
tool.
You're
It's a tool.
identifying it as who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you want me to get rid of everything I am? Well, no, that's not who you are. You know what I mean? That's a facade that you've built up so that you can, not have to face your feelings or not have to be honest with people, not have to be, tell people about your emotions or that you're not feeling all that well today or that, you think you might not know what's cool or what's not cool.
That's what's so dangerous
You know what
about
I mean?
addiction was the facade. I'm sure that mine was very similar to you guys, but the facade and the ammunition and the life that I built up it stemmed from a traumatic event in the military, and I started using and drinking hard, like real bad, like with a vengeance. It wasn't about taste or having fun anymore. It was crazy. So when I
Right.
got out of the service and come home, I was a fucking mess.
Okay.
I was 22 years old when I come home. I got sober at 29. So that 7 years was a fucking horror show.
Right.
And what happened from 18 till that point, at 29, when I got sober at Turnabout, was I started to form all kinds of bad habits where I would, I started to act like someone else. And at 18 years old, I wasn't
Right.
even a fully developed me at that point. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was like still forming myself. Something
Trying to
traumatic
figure it
happened,
out.
and then I started to act like tougher than I really was. I started to not talk about feelings. I didn't know how to, but, I just started to act like someone. I was mean to girls. I didn't want to be mean. I never wanted to do the stuff that I did. I never, ever wanted to be that person. But I felt like I had to be to survive and keep people away at arm's length. I actually wanted people to think I was crazy to stay away from me. As opposed to, because where I grew up was like, if you're not tough, you got to be tough somehow. You better be tough with your mouth or your fists or something, So, with the trauma, I just formed this real nasty tongue, real sharp tongue, and I would people were like, whoa. And some of them may not have been like scared of me or think I was crazy, but I wasn't very pleasant to be around. Right. So I kept people away.
It can feel good to just unleash cruelty with your tongue when you have all that crap inside of you.
It did, but it did feel good at the time, but it really wasn't me. The real me is, hey, this guy, I'm a sensitive guy. My sponsor tells me, Roy, that's a merit. That's not a demerit. That's a good thing.
Well, that's just it. If you we're gonna deal with feelings, then people are gonna think you're soft.
Right, and that's what it all comes down to was I couldn't have people think this certain way, so I started to act this way, and it was killing me, man. It was. And I was using so many drugs and drinking and just to stuff that stuff down. I really was using this stuff like medicine, like to keep it down.
Right.
And it ended up coming out at some point. I actually told Chris, I tried to deal with that traumatic event, never said nothing to nobody. I started to deal with that event in a safe environment with like a 4-person T group, in Turnabout. And I started to deal with it. And one of the fresh punk mouth guys, just like me in Turnabout, was like, yeah, sure, and he kind of hammered me with my stuff, and I was just like, oh my God, I tried to deal with the trauma, and someone hammered me with it. I just went right back inside. I went back inside with a vengeance. I can't believe I even got sober.
And
oh, really?
Yeah. Right, and that's the thing, like, because when I seen you the other night over at that place is pretty cool. I mean, it's a beer garden, but where we were standing,
there was a big movie screen for the kids.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff.
There was something for everyone. If you drink, there's a bar. If you want to watch a movie, if you want to play volleyball,
there was all kinds of stuff. It's right down the street from our house, and they took like old storage containers and cut them open and made those like the buildings.
Ice cream stand.
Yeah, the Australian ice cream.
3 out of the 4 things I would have loved: the ice cream stand, the movie, and the grassy area, or playing volleyball.
Right.
Just the bar I avoid.
And there's a surf shop, like you can rent surfboards, you can rent bicycles.
It was cool.
It's pretty cool.
It was really cool.
Smart people, but I said, this is perfect. You could come on. And I remember you saying, hold on, I gotta look at my schedule, because you're like me, I don't remember anything, so you looked at it, but you mentioned the PTSD group.
I had just finished Friday. I just finished a PTSD group, and this is something that I don't really talk about. This is something I don't talk about from the podium. This is something it's military. It started there, so they're the professionals with this.
But also, there might be someone out there that is struggling because of something similar.
Right.
And
holding on all this long.
The reason I bring it up is because a friend of ours, Mike Cavoni, he has his own podcast too. I forget the name of it, but I'll post it in the group. Because he addresses, he was sober for a very long time, and he still didn't feel right.
Right.
So he did deep trauma work.
And when you're sober a long time and you don't feel right, you start to
you go through the steps
yourself.
And you're like, what the fuck?
Like,
why don't I feel better?
I've done the steps.
Yeah.
With the AWOL with 50, 70 guys. 16, 17 out of the 25 years I've been clean.
Yeah.
And it's like, so why do I still not? And, so I ended up, in 2010, I ended up getting some help through a I'll mention it. It's called the Homebase program.
Okay.
And what was happening was they started this in 2010 because guys were coming back from those 2 wars, like, killing themselves. It was
absolutely.
fucking
22
horrible.
22
Yeah,
soldiers a day.
I have a friend who lost
Really
his
bad.
son.
22 soldiers a day commit suicide.
young guys. So they started Homebase back then, and it was kind of small and just getting going. Well, here it is. It's 10 years older now. So they helped me out, outpatient. I went.
Now, is that through? Was it through the military? Where's Homebase?
It's not. It's not affiliated with the VA, but someone had to do something. So
Right.
it ended up being. It's kind of sponsored by. I don't really want to be incorrect here, but Mass General Hospital is like the top psychiatric hospital in the country. So Mass General, it's the doctors from Mass General that are running this joint.
So if
That
someone
worked
was
there.
looking for it, they could probably inquire at Mass General.
Yeah, there's commercials on TV too. I mean, you can donate, you can buy a mask, and
Oh,
some of the
so-
proceeds go to. So listen, the Red Sox Foundation is part of it too.
Okay.
Red Sox Foundation supports several different things.
And
Yeah,
this,
helps-
and this is
it helps
for
children, it helps
military
veterans.
people with trauma.
Yeah,
Or-
it's PTSD focused trauma, and so all these years I
It
didn't.
doesn't matter what it's from. They'll help anybody,
Well,
pretty much.
back in 2010, listen, this is how nice they are. I wasn't from those eras. I wasn't from OEF, OIF. I was from 1984 to 1988, which was peacetime.
What's OEF?
Operation Enduring Freedom. And
Oh, yeah,
nice.
Operation Desert Storm.
Yeah, so the guys from those 2 wars, it was horrible. So they started this thing. So I actually didn't qualify to be helped by this organization, but I found out about it through a lady was helping me file a hearing loss claim or something, and the stuff came out.
With the hearing loss lady?
With the hearing loss lady, she's a lawyer who works
Okay.
for herself, but she advocates for veterans, and if she helps them out, then she gets a little piece. Whatever.
Oh, she's advocating you to get your treatment for your hearing loss.
Yeah, she was helping me
I
file.
see.
What happened was in 2005 or 6, I filed a hearing loss claim by myself. Guys, if you're out there, don't file a claim by yourself. Get
Right.
help. Get help. So
Yeah.
I did a horrible job with it, and I was pissed off when they said no. So I went to my
Those
town.
headphones for
Huh? So I went to my town, and the lady, the veterans agent for my town, said, "Hey, go see this lady." And this lady was from the VA out and wherever. She came down and she helped me with the hearing loss claim. This is how uncanny this happened. I don't know if I ever would have went there, Dan. I don't know if I ever would have talked about this stuff after what happened with Turnabout.
Right.
And I was buried it. I was never gonna ever talk about this stuff for the rest of my life. What happened was she's helping me with the hearing loss claim. So gather this information, get this paperwork, do this. So all this paperwork that I gathered, once I seen some of the names on the paperwork.
Oh,
I
your
fuck-
commanding officers and stuff?
Well, some of the guys that I worked with,
Oh, okay.
I snapped and I just
Really?
couldn't control it no more. And
Broke down?
and all the stuff comes out, and she was just blown away because
Anger?
I'll be honest with you, a hearing loss claim is like it's not worth a whole lot of money or anything. So she was helping me out with this minimal claim,
Right.
and all of a sudden I just unleashed this tidal wave of stuff, and she's just like, "Whoa, whoa!"
Was
whoa.
it anger or sadness?
It was major depressive disorder type stuff, and it was
Okay.
PTSD. I didn't know it. I mean, I'm
Right.
not. That's not my field.
Right.
So I'm unleashing this stuff on her, and she's just like, "Whoa, we got to get you to talk to somebody." So she said,
Yeah,
there's
you
this
need a
new
professional.
program in Boston called Homebase program. Go there." So in 2009, 2010, I went there, and I walk in the door, and probably over the phone, they very clinical about it, so they decided to help me, and I believe they saved my life actually in 2010 because it was just real bad. So
Yeah.
here it is 10 years later. When I got hurt 3 years ago, the way it was handled, I'm not going to hammer anybody, but the way it was handled made me feel like that piece of crap that who gives a shit what happens to them. I snapped. The way they handled it. I didn't get paid for 8 months, dude. I went to work every day. I got hurt. You wanna not pay me? Okay, that's fine. But the way I was treated, I couldn't help it. I didn't know what was going to happen, but the way I got treated, and then you're about to fire me because I'm not at work, and I didn't get paid for 8 months as a disabled vet, single dad, trying to raise a couple kids. I had to sell my truck to pay rent. I fucking snapped.
Oh, I remember that. I remember when you were going through all that.
And Dan, I'm like multiple years sober. Tom, I'm sorry. all these years sober. This is another thing, Chris. Is, when you're sober a long time, you think, I should. You should what?
Yep. Well, how come they are? How come I'm not?
So
no, that ain't fucking life, man.
So I needed to go back and deal with the initial stuff from 18 years old, because when I snapped over getting hurt and not being treated like a civilized person, I fucking snapped.
Yeah.
So I went to the VA, and oh my God, you guys, check this out. I go to the VA, right? And I'm a little humbled where I had to check into.
Mm-hmm.
And check this out. I walk in there, right? And on the ward, I was like, Andy, my counselor from Project Turnabout works on the ward.
Really? Wow.
I walked in there, and he gave me this big hug. He says, Roy, you're doing the right thing. And I fucking broke down crying because I was going to lose my sobriety, guys.
Yeah.
I had I had a long-term sobriety, and I was fucking going to snap, and I was going to lose it.
Yeah.
Listen,
so
bro,
I went in there, and I got help.
The jumping off point. This, like, just because you've been around here doesn't mean that you can't still struggle and go through shit. Like, you didn't find out till years into sobriety that you needed to address this trauma.
What was it really?
Yeah. What caused you to end up taking the path that you did, whether it be good or bad? So when while you're on this path, now you get this diversion over to Turnabout, which helped you now straighten out your life and not use drugs and alcohol anymore. But there's still that.
But I
fucking
still never
feeling,
dealt with it.
That's the
that
thing. You
feeling
don't have,
that
you don't have
I
the
know
solution.
I'm not right.
You don't have the solution that's helping you push those feelings down. So now they come out.
That's why, like, there's so many different components to permanent contented sobriety.
Yeah.
It's not just the steps. It's treatment. It's addressing mental health. It's addressing trauma. It's it's your diet. Your diet is not just what you put in your mouth. It's what you're watching on TV. It's what you're consuming on the computer.
I got nutritional help at this place for 2 weeks. I got 50 hours of clinical help in 2 weeks. Actually, in 10 days, because the weekend was to ourselves.
Well,
10 days.
What was the bulk of the treatment? Was it therapy?
It was hardcore therapy. It was.
Did you ever do any EMDR or anything?
It was turnabout in fucking 2 weeks.
Did you do any EMDR or anything like that?
I didn't do that, but I am going to continue on with some CTSP or CTP or what? Cognitive,
like tapping. Yeah, cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT.
There's CBT and there's CPT, and so I'm going to continue on with cognitive therapy because there was damage done. I mean,
absolutely. And now you'll have a whole nother avenue to help people.
Yeah, that's true. I've been saying this a lot over the past year. The 12 steps, because a lot of my friends in the program are like, so where you going? I was like, I've told some people I was going on retreat, told some people I was going to the hospital, told some people I was going on vacation. This is something kind of personal.
Right.
I can't even believe I'm putting it out here on a podcast. But if it's going to help somebody,
and that's the thing.
Chris talked to me already, Tom, about this.
And that's the thing.
Like, if this stuff could help somebody not go all these years before sharing what really, like Turnabout. Turnabout has a saying, guys. What is it? What's really going on?
Oh, yeah.
And I was many years sober, and I finally.
That statement meant more to you than it ever did in your entire life.
What's really going on, Roy? And and this lady who didn't even know that, like, she was helping me with a low money
with a claim for
and I hit
hair.
her with all this stuff because of the names I seen. Tom, it was like I didn't expect
a closed mouth doesn't get fed.
But then you try to put. Then I tried to put the toothpaste back in the tube and. Like
then
she's like,
no, I didn't mean to say that.
She's like, you can't, you got to deal with this, man. You can hurt.
Thank God.
You can hurt somebody.
Thank God for her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's a lawyer. She could have said, okay,
Peggy,
next.
Peggy really helped me out. And she got me with the professionals with this stuff, which is Homebase, and so they helped me out in 2010. They got me correctly diagnosed.
Was it all
got me
group?
in the VA system. They got me on meds, and I was good. I was doing good for quite a while, and then this injury and how it was handled, I fucking snapped, and I needed some more help. And I know that at 20-something years sober, I needed some more help. And it's like humble, whatever.
Life
doesn't
still
matter.
happens,
I don't
man.
talk about the stuff from the podium only because I don't. Listen, AA and the 12 steps has helped me with 70 to 75% of my life.
Absolutely.
But there's a piece of this that needed to go with the professionals, and it's not a friend in AA. It's traumatic PTSD.
Yes.
People. These people had PhDs, man.
And
This
luckily,
wasn't, this
luckily,
was
I learned this early. Like, I remember I was in Turnabout. They suggest that we get counselors. Go to counseling.
not only suggested, it's actually you can't move from step 8 to step 9 without outside counseling set up. You can't even graduate.
It was seek outside counseling, and
You want to keep that mic a little closer. Right?
I was still a little uncomfortable with sharing a lot of the stuff with people in AA.
Yeah.
But what gave me comfort, as fucked up as it was if I hear anything that I tell this lady from anyone else ever, I can sue the fuck out of her.
Yeah.
But that helped me. That helped. That what made me was it was a catalyst to being able to share,
knowing that she legally can't share.
Exactly.
Yeah. So was it mostly one-on-one?
At this program, most of the hard work I had to do was one-on-one. But it was fantastic. Because of COVID, the program's changed. I was supposed to go. Last December, I went there and went through all these tests and stuff. And, not everybody's going to walk up and knock on Homebase's door and get in. It's like a process, So last December, I went through that process, and I talked to, psychiatrists and stuff, and I got accepted into Homebase, and I was supposed to go in March, and then COVID just hammered the world.
Yeah.
And that place got shut down. So here it was.
Shut down?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, they
reopen after.
Some of the people got the flu and stuff in early March, and then all of a sudden, a couple weeks later, COVID just hammered the world, and they had to shut it down and clean the whole place and stuff. So I was in the first cohort, 6 guys that just went through it for the first time in 4 months. So it's all new. They gave us tablets back in our hotel room, and for the first half of the day, we did a lot of therapy one-on-one. And that's where I did a lot of the work in my hotel room virtually with the tablet they provided, because they didn't want people in a room, even if you're 6 feet apart in a room with a clinical psychologist, whatever.
Right.
They figured this is probably the best way to do this. So
in the beginning, it was very, very iffy.
So the first half of the day was a lot of classes. There was Tai Chi, yoga, or stretching. There was a check-in group, and the first half an hour was like, "Hey, how'd you guys sleep?" Common theme was nobody was sleeping very well,
and so
messed up dreams. And stuff.
Right.
That stuff, with the interview we did with our friend Mike, who does all this stuff. That was the thing, like moving your body, because some of these things can get like stuck. Like you hold certain
like
things
you said
in
earlier,
different parts of your body.
I got nutritional help.
Yeah,
I got awesome. Physical fitness help. There was several classes, Tom, besides the one-on-one counsel, which was my favorite. That's where I really dug deep. And you're going to go away from your kid for 2 weeks, dump your stuff. I mean,
right.
Why go there and be fake, So
right.
So I really
let's go pay this therapist and lie to them.
Yeah, listen, if you're a veteran with PTSD and you get into Homebase, you don't pay for anything. So the very, very healthy meals. They're not going to talk about nutrition and then feed you burgers. This was very healthy meals. This was such a healthy decision for me to make and for me to do and to go back there.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. The place is fantastic. So in 2 weeks' time, you get like 50 clinical hours. So if you're a veteran out there and you're doing one-on-one counseling once a week for 50 minutes, it's going to take you 60 weeks over a year. It's going to take you 60 weeks to get the treatment that you can get in 2 weeks here.
Well, I think it's a whole different process, wouldn't you think? You'd
It
go
is.
for
It's
one
intensive
day in a
inpatient.
week, yeah, and then in between that and the next appointment, you'd have all these different experiences. You might
Yeah.
be able, but if you're going daily,
But there's lots of guys
you
out
don't
there,
let it
Tom,
up.
doing that. And, like, there's lots of guys, and your friend that's doing the trauma coaching.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of people out there doing one-on-one once a week.
Yeah, and I don't think
Even if you're doing it twice a week, okay, 30 weeks it will take you. If you're seeing someone for 2 hours a week, it take 30 weeks to get what I got in 2 weeks. Because there was other classes. There was amazing classes on the brain and, like,
Yeah, and that's the thing.
techniques on how to challenge these initial feelings and the initial thoughts. That's what I love the most. I've already caught myself several times.
Yeah.
The last day there, right, guys? You wake up on Friday. There's not much clinical in the morning, and then you have a graduation, and you. I'm checking out. I just had 2 weeks of intense, awesome, freaking fantastic counseling and techniques and everything. Right
Yeah.
in my brain, I'm packing. Right, I'm packing up in my hotel room, and my mind just goes right. It just automatically goes right to you. You fucking idiot! What the fuck you doing? You should have packed stuff last night. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like all this
Negative
stuff,
self-talk.
Oh, it just started fucking hammering me. I felt my temperature go up. I felt my heart rate going up, and I just says, no, stop. That's one of the techniques that they teach you. Like, no, stop. Challenge that. I'm sitting there in my room. I found myself like chasing my tail and walking back and forth. And this was so common, guys, in my life. I've done this 1,000 times. And ruined my whole day and other people's whole day.
By bullshit between your ears.
Yeah, man.
That's right.
So I caught it. And I said, no. Most people that got a pack to go somewhere get overwhelmed a little bit. Just chill the fuck out. You're not stupid fuck. You're not dumb fuck. Yeah, maybe you should have packed some stuff last night, but you're not any of this negative shit. Now let's go. And I coached myself through that, and it's like exactly what they were teaching you in this place.
Wow.
Well,
cool.
the wow is like, I can tell you 1,000 times how many people's day I ruined just from something like that happened in my life before.
Right.
It's like I would rip people, and it's like people
Yeah,
had
just-
no idea. That
just go about your day being an
your
asshole.
Kids,
Yeah.
right, wife, whatever.
Well,
Exactly.
what you tell yourself about a situation causes your emotions. Your emotions cause your actions, which compound. If you tell yourself shitty things about yourself or something else, you're going to feel like shit. And then you're going to treat other people like shit.
Positive
And then it's gonna go
affirmations,
worse.
positive
And it's gonna-
self-talk.
And if you never get out of it,
if you can be humble enough to to just give yourself a break. So I'm just another bozo on the bus.
challenge
Just
that.
relax.
Challenge the initial thought and the initial feeling. Just challenge it. Is that accurate? No. Like that morning, no,
Right.
it wasn't accurate. I've been home for a couple days now. Last Friday, I get out of there. Been home for a couple days now, and I felt myself starting to slide back into some of the same old because I'm not working.
Yeah.
But I felt myself starting to slide back into some of the same old things. So and I was able to like challenge some of that stuff. Listen, it's not a perfect science, guys. I mean, 2 weeks isn't going to cure you from PTSD.
It's action. It's action.
It's not going to cure you
It's-
from.
All right,
your
now
ailments.
I remember when they were talking about this. Like, I remember so many times being sitting in meetings and hearing things, and it just goes like right over my head. And then I'm out in real life, and it's like, boom, that's what that fucking guy was talking about in that meeting that night, and it made no sense to me at the time, but then I cognitively thought about. That's what that guy was sharing about. That's what that guy was explaining to us.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was probably like, "Oh my God, will someone shut this guy up?"
Looking at the clock and thinking about
exactly.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many times it happened, and like now, you just have to keep. Now, do they have like follow up stuff?
So they do. They have one of us.
Like a
six,
check-in?
One of us 6 guys was in tough shape, and he. Another thing I wanted to share. One of the mornings, right? I get up to get. I think it was breakfast. You get out of your hotel room, you come down, they're providing breakfast. You get your breakfast, you go up in your room, you're eating breakfast while you're doing your one-on-ones and stuff, right? It's pretty cool.
Huh.
Considering you can't be at the facility, so it was probably totally different if you could be there. The place is fantastic. So one morning I get up and I go down there. One of the guys that's in there with me, his name happened to be John. And I goes down there, and so now we're talking with the woman who's providing the meals. I said, hey, how you doing? How's your day going? Good. I said, oh, what do we got here? And I look out the window. Now, guys, we're in Charlestown. We're right on the wharf. There's $50 million worth of boats out there. Like, it's oh my God, it's an incredible area.
Right.
Very, very good area. So I look out the window of the hotel, and there's one of the guys, just like me, with his head in his hand. And I just felt so bad for him, and I was like, I goes out. She goes, yeah, John's having a bad day. So I went out there to talk to him, just like I would kind of hope that anybody would help me.
Pull somebody up.
If I got my head in my hand, go help the guy out. So I goes out there and I talks with him, and I'm trying to talk him through his major depressive issue, and another thing that they taught us, I didn't realize it was about to happen. So I'm talking to him, and then he starts getting into a specific scenario that's got him so majorly depressed, and then he starts to rev up, and then he starts to get specific about details, and I was just like, I felt my heart rate go up, I felt my temperature go up. I says, John, stop, I'm getting triggered here, dude, hold on. Dude, this is why they don't want us to do this. He says, oh, I'm sorry. I says, listen, you don't have to say you're sorry. But this is what they're talking about. When we go over to the facility, they don't want us talking about our specific PTSD because you can trigger someone else. And you could flip out and hurt one of these ladies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Teaching, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know what these guys, you don't know what someone has seen or done or been through or what's happened to them. So that was exactly what they were talking about. I actually experienced someone just trying to say, hey, you okay, buddy? And then we're talking, and then he just starts getting very, analytical about feelings and thoughts and stuff, and it just started to trigger me, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I said, this is why they want this done over there in the facility. I says, we got to stop. Let's go have some lunch, buddy. He says, okay, hey, thank you, man. I'm really sorry. I says, listen, you don't have to say you're sorry, but this is what they want us to not get triggered by each other. So when we go over there, we aren't supposed to be talking about specifics in the room. One-on-one with your counselor, you can get specific as you want. Whether you're seeing your buddy's head get blown off or you got raped or whatever it was, that's when you get specific. But you don't get specific in the actual room. So that's when I actually, that's when I had the moment. This is what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. I started to get triggered by him telling us, whoa.
Yeah. Whoa. And you don't think about that,
You know how many times that's probably happened in my life and I didn't stop it and I got triggered and I went out and ruined my day and everybody else's day? I'm getting triggered. Man.
Or you're sitting in a meeting and you trigger someone else. You see them fucking get up and leave and no one goes out there.
And you don't know it.
And you have no idea.
And they go out and use.
Yeah.
Die.
Yeah. That's the thing. There's so much more than just doing step work to addiction.
But there's nothing wrong with step work.
Not at all.
It's going back to what's really going on.
But there's also people that's more than enough. That's plenty of work for them.
Right.
Not everybody in recovery has.
And that's
trauma.
the thing. We're all different.
Right.
And I don't know. I say it all the time. I don't know what the mathematical equation is to my recovery, so I try to never minus anything from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Always additions.
I absolutely
add
love
to it.
being sober, man. Oh
Yeah, me too.
And to start at the same place for all of us,
Yeah.
that's
when I seen him
pretty
and
crazy.
he asked me to come on, Tom, and I was trying to figure out who is this. What's this? And once I seen you, I was like,
and he said it. He goes, "Oh, Roy from Monday night." I'm like, "Yeah," because I said your name. I said Roy Morris. He's like,
I forgot you were a Turnabout alumni.
Yeah.
Once I pictured it.
Yeah.
I've been over there a few times. I've tried to get the alumni meeting started back up.
I had the book. I was like, listen, anytime someone comes in here and they say they're from Turnabout, have them put their name in this book.
But that's not.
I was in there with. We did an alumni meeting. It was one of the first ones. Bobby Fagan.
Yeah.
Oh, Bobby Fagan.
They came in, escorted him out.
Yeah, and ever since
they said it was because he had an energy drink.
Ever since then,
there was residents with energy drinks in front of him.
Ever since then, we had a hard time. I got Brett to go back in there with me one time, and I don't think he's allowed in there anymore. I don't know. Something happened where he said something.
I told. I ever tell you the story?
That kid speaks his mind.
I ever tell you the story? I went in there when it was newly opened,
It's
got to
diff-
wrap
it's-
this up in a
Yeah,
minute.
we
but
got to wrap it up.
I went in there when it was newly open. Phone was ringing. What would you do with the old turnabout if the phone was ringing?
What would I do?
Yeah,
As a graduate that went in there?
yeah.
I don't know.
If it was ringing and you were standing there, no one else was around.
Project Turnabout, man.
Exactly what I did.
You know?
I said, "Good evening, Project Turnabout. Can I help you?" It was the director. Who the fuck is this? Freaking out. I'm like, this is Chris Mandeville, Project Turnabout alumni. Who's this?
There's no respect for alumni.
And he
over there.
told me, "Why are you answering the phone?" I said, "It was ringing." Like, just normal answers, like, no one's here, it was ringing. I answered it. He was bullshit. Somehow, a couple days later, he tracked me down. He's like, "Listen, I want to apologize." Because he was a normie.
He wasn't one of us.
He was a
And
normie.
he was just, they fired Dan Bolin, and they brought that guy in.
Yeah. Joe Rhoda, they had him driving the van.
Joe was
Joe
awesome.
Rhoda driving the van.
I don't think they care one iota about the clients that they're doing.
These are our opinions.
Well,
These are our
opinions, and it's also the industry, guys.
It's a business.
It used to
It's a
be
business.
about helping the addict
It's a
30
business.
years ago, and now it's
Yeah,
about
it's a
money.
business.
I went to the graduation where we waited. I was in the house and we had to move where we moved from Hingham to Weymouth, and I was waiting to walk the stage.
Yep.
They didn't have us walk the stage. I was the only one from the old house at the graduation, and
Yep.
they said, "You can't speak."
Yeah. Like, because remember
Didn't
the
let me
graduation, you had to wait a whole year.
Yeah.
They had one graduation. If you didn't stay sober, if you completed after the graduation, you had to stay sober until the next graduation, or you weren't a graduate.
And dude, I worked there.
Yeah.
I was overnight staff.
Crazy.
But anyway, we got to wrap this up.
Yeah. So it was awesome to have you on.
Yeah, it
Roy.
was
Thanks a
cool
lot,
to,
Roy. That was
to go
cool.
back.
Yeah. It's
The old PT, man.
exactly where it all started. You know,
Yeah.
I still use a lot of those things that I learned in that place
Yep.
daily.
What's really going on?
Yeah,
is a big
what's-
one for me.
Ask them, how you doing? I'm okay. What's really going
What's
on?
really going on?
Ask them twice.
Tell your face
Yeah.
that, you know?
Yes. Say that all the time. Tell your face that.
You all right there?
Yeah, you all right there? What's really going on?
Well, that's why I was on time, guys, because if not,
yeah.
You
it's
pull
an
your-
early-
irresponsible commitment that I made to Chris. you know?
Irresponsible.
Yes. I'm giving you a verbal pull-up.
I'm very much way better with that kind of stuff that I got taught at 29 years old and
Right.
turnabout.
Exactly.
Yeah.
29.
Either don't commit, and don't walk around Mr. Non-committal to anything ever.
Right.
But I mean, I learned, just don't say yeah to everything.
Right. If you can't do it, say no.
Yeah, say
no.
no.
It's okay.
Be
It's
assertive.
It's okay to say no.
Be assertive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thanks,
Once
everybody.
Good
again.
time, guys. That was cool, man.
T, Teresa, Roy, my dancing friend.
T.
Yep.
love
What's
her.
up? Mikey Egan. Roy's one of the people I have admired since day one.
Love him.
And
Yeah,
right under
Mike
that, I said,
Egan.
Mike Egan, you're one of mine.
I love
Because,
that guy.
hey, not for nothing, he remembered my name the second week I came there.
Ah, I love
that was
that
the
guy.
biggest thing ever.
Pretty good.
He's like, Chris, right? And I was like, whoa.
I love that
Awesome.
guy.
Thanks
Great
everybody
stuff.
for tuning in.
Yes.
Please,
we appreciate you all. Like, share, subscribe.
Subscribe. Yep.
LOLterms.com.
LOLterms.com.
For our audio podcast. We have a YouTube channel as well. We also have an Instagram, but the only thing on it is our logo.
Yeah.
So we
Life
can work
on
on
life's
that
terms, man.
too. Yeah.
Life on Life's
Life on
Terms
Life's Terms.
podcast on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, I should say, Google
Yes.
Play Store,
All right.
Spotify.
Once again, another one in the books.
Cool experience.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
Peace. Good job, guys. That was pretty.